Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Or tanong sa kalilintad ng kapipiya ginawa. I am Al-Ghazali Kawasati Buhari from the College of Education, taking up Bachelor of Secondary Education major in English. For this video, I will be bringing you to Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, ladies and gentlemen, is an autonomous region that is located in the southern part of the Philippines. It is actually comprised of predominantly 6 Muslim provinces, which are Basilan Province, excluding the Isabela City, Maguindanao del Sur, Maguindanao del Norte, Lanao del Sur, Tawi-Tawi, and Sulu. So there are literary works or genres that is actually present in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. First, we have the Islamic literature. We also have oral tradition. Third, we have socio-political discourse. Fourth, we have cultural identity and heritage. We also have contemporary fiction, and we have poetry. So for this video, for this discussion, I will share one legend and one epic. The title of the legend is How Angels Built Lake Lanao, and the epic is actually some of you are familiar with, which is the Darangan. But it is actually translated for this version. It is translated by Mabel or Mabel Cook Cole. So starting with the legend, How Angels Built Lake Lanao. So na-ask nyo ba yung sarili nyo kung paano nagawa yung Lake Lanao? May mga nagsasabi sa ilalim daw ng Lake Lanao, meron daw sinasabing volcano dyan na pinanggalingan ng Lake Lanao. That's why nagka-create ng Lake Lanao. Iba-iba no, mga stories. But ang story na to is isang version din kung paano nagawa yung Lake Lanao. This legend, we have characters. First, we have the Archangel Gabriel or Malaikat Jibril. In Christian, we have Gabriel or Gabriel in Filipino. So we have the Sohara, the voice of Allah. In English, the meaning of Sohara is the voice or voice. Third one is the 4 winds, which are Angin Taupan, Angin Sarsar, Angin Bisar, and Angin Darat. We also have millions of angels, and we also have the people of Mantapuli. So the story actually started with the imbalance of the world. So Mantapuli rapid growth disrupts the balance between Sabangan and Sidipan. So long time ago, there was no lake in Lake Lanao. So only the Sultanate of Mantapuli. So the Sultanate of Mantapuli is actually situated where the Lake Lanao is naroon no, right now. So during the reign of Sultan Abdara Radawi, the great-grandfather of Raha Sulaiman, I know that some of you are familiar with Raha Sulaiman, this realm actually expanded due to military conquest and dynamic marriages. So the name of Mantapuli actually spread no ng mabilis pa due to military conquest, and also have the dynamic marriages, yung pinapakasal yung for example pinapakasal yung anak ng isang hari sa isang kingdom sa sultanate or sultanate ng isang kingdom din. That time, the world is actually divided into 2, the Sabangan or the east, and we have the Sidipan or the west. So the Sultanate of Mantapuli is actually belonged to Sabangan. So there was a rapid growth of power and population. So since nagiging mas heavy na yung Sabangan, since naka-divide lang siya sa 2, yung world nung una, merong disequilibrium na naganap. So mas mabigat na yung Sabangan kumpara sa Sidipan. So naging imbalance no, nagkaroon nga ng disequilibrium. So anong nangyari? It actually came to attention of Archangel Jibril. So dyan na yung tinatawag natin na divine intervention, no? So Jibril seeks guidance from Allah and instructed to relocate Mantapuli to restore equilibrium. So yun nga, si Archangel Jibril went to the 8th heaven and talked to the Sohara or the voice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Jibril told Sohara about the concern, which is the disequilibrium of the world. So the Sohara told Jibril to gather the millions of angels or all the angels, no, para ilipat, no, ang Mantapuli sa center ng world. So the Zohara also added na magka-create ng eclipse, no, upon relocating, no, or transferring the Mantapuli from Sabangan to the center of the world. So the next part is the relocation of Mantapuli. So Jabrail, with the assistance of millions of angels, lift Mantapuli and transfer it to the center of the earth, creating Lake Lanao in its place. So nangyari, the millions of angels headed by Archangel Jabrail, according sa guidance ng Allah, pag mag-create na ang Allah ng Barahana, ang Barahana ay tawag nating solar eclipse. During that time, since magkaka-solar eclipse, wala na makikita, di ba? Dilim na. So that was the time na ililift, no? Ita-transfer na ng millions of angels ang Mantapuli from Sabangan to the center of the earth. Pati yung mga puno, pati yung mga hayop, lahat ng tao, marirelocate din doon sa center of the earth. So after that, no? Tatapos na yung Barahana, nalipat na or na-relocate na yung Mantapuli. What happened next is that meron na namang another problem. Problem number 2 is that kung saan tinanggal yung Mantapuli, nag-create ito ng isang ocean, no? Yung ocean is actually overflowing, mabilis yung pag-flow ng water. So since sa paligid nun, meron pa ring mga tao, Archangel Jabrail believed that there is possibility na malulunod at mamamatay yung mga tao if patuloy na mag-overflow yung tubig. So, that time pa, yung na-mention dun sa book, is actually ocean yung tubig na yon. So, again, pumunta na naman at nakipag-usap na naman ang Archangel Jabrail sa Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and actually raised the second concern. So, ang sabi ng Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is this on the four winds, no? Which are angin taupan, angin darat, angin sarsar, and angin besar. So, the guidance of Allah ulit, bumaba na naman ang Jibrail, pumunta na naman siya sa kung saan matatagpuan yung ocean, no? Ang ginawa niya is he actually summoned the four winds to create an outlet. So para hindi na mag-overflow yung tubig, mas better gumawa na lang ng outlet para maayos, no, na makadaloy yung tubig. So yung sa first na attempt ng four winds, ang nangyari, failure siya or naging failed siya kasi nga may mga mountains na nakaharang. So, ang direction na yun is patungo sa Tilok Bay. So, na-fail nga siya kasi nga may mga mountains na nakaharang. So, yung paggawa ng outlet is actually, sa first attempt, is failure. So, for the second attempt, the four winds did their best to create an outlet. But, the attempt to create an outlet is actually failed because Sugod Bay is too far. So masyadong malayo yung Sugod Bay doon sa pinagagalingan ng tubig. So second attempt, failed siya since malayo yung Sugod Bay. So third attempt, ginawa lahat ng four winds ang kanilang makakaya. And guess what? Naging successful yung pag-create nila ng outlet. At yung outlet na yun ay kilala natin sa tawag na Agos River. Along the Agos River, makikita din natin ang tinatawag natin na Maria Cristina Falls. So that is the legend of how angels built Lake Lanao. So these are the characters. We have Archangel Jabrail, who seeks guidance from Allah to address the imbalance caused by Mantapuli's power. We have the Zohara, provides wisdom and guidance to Jabrail. We have four winds, angin taupan, angin sarsar, angin besar, and angin darat, who summoned to create an outlet for the rising waters. Next one, millions of angels who assist Jabrail in relocating Mantapuli and later in creating an outlet for the overflowing waters. We have the millions of angels assist Jibrail in relocating Mantapuli. Fifth, we have people of Mantapuli, inhabitants of the sultanate that is relocated by the angels. So the settings are, we have Mantapuli or Lake Lanao, or Sabangan or Sidupan. We also have 8th heaven kung saan pumunta Archangel Jabrail. So the themes are balance and harmony because the story emphasizes the importance of maintaining balance in the natural world. Second, we have the divine intervention since Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the angels intervene to address the imbalance caused by Mantapuli's rapid growth. Next one, we have the power of nature. The four winds play a crucial role in creating an outlet for the overflowing waters, showcasing the power of nature. So the plot is actually linear. POV is third person omniscient, and the symbolism, first we have Lake Lanao. It actually represents the result of divine intervention and restoration of the imbalance of the world. Second is the Maria Cristina Falls. It actually symbolizes the beauty and power of nature, serving as a reminder of the events that led to the creation of Lake Lanao. So for critical review, we can actually apply the mythological criticism. So the story is deeply rooted in mythology and religious beliefs. It portrays the actions of angels, the intervention of a higher power or referring to Allah, and the creation of natural landmark Lake Lanao and Maria Cristina Falls through divine intervention. So analyzing the narrative through a mythological lens would involve identifying archetypal figures such as the Archangel Jibrail, recurring motifs such as the creation of landscapes, and symbolic elements such as the balance of the earth within the story. Next one, we can also apply historical criticism. So while the story is steeped in mythological elements, it also provides insight into historical context of Lanao region. Historical criticism would involve exploring the narrative's connection to historical events, figures, and geographical features. This could include examining the political landscape of the time, such as the reign of Sultan Abdar Radawi, the cultural significance of natural landmarks such as Lake Lanao, and the origins of local legends and folklore. So that ends the legend How Angels Built Lake Lanao. So for the second story, we will gonna discuss about Darangan. So I know that some of you is actually familiar with this story. So before that, I'm gonna introduce first who translated the Darangan from Maranao to English. So we have Mabel Cook Cole. So Cole was born on April 18, 1899 in Plano, Kendall, Illinois. She grew up in stimulating environment and attended Plano High School for her early education. So Cole's passion for learning and exploration led her to pursue higher education at Northwestern University, where she graduated in 1903. So now, let's proceed to the epic Darangan translated by Mabel Cook Cole. So the story actually started when, there was a king in a faraway kingdom in Mindanao who had two sons. So the elder was Prince Madali and the younger one was Prince Bantugan. So at a very young age, Prince Bantugan had shown, superior qualities over his elder brother Prince Madali. So their tutors would always tell their father that Prince Bantugan was very intelligent. He was, fast learner. So even in the use of, bow and arrow, a sword, and etc. So, and he possessed such great strength that he could actually subdue 3 to 5 men. So the first indication that he would soon be a, formidable soldier was seen when he single-handedly killed a big and ferocious crocodile. So this ferocious crocodile actually killed several villagers. So the villagers could not believe their eyes during that time. Prince Bantugan actually, subdue or killed the crocodile with very short struggle. So there are people amazed, by Prince Bantugan's strength. So as time goes by or years pass by, Prince Bantugan actually reached to his manhood. He became the king's number one soldier, and he always led their soldiers to the battlefield. So, and he always triumphed over their kingdom's enemies. So, usapan na rin yung pangalan niya at yung kingdom nila sa mga neighboring kingdoms pa. So soon, no kingdom ever dared to conquer or to make war with their kingdom, since alam nila kung kung gaano kalakas si Prince Bantugan. So no one would want to fight him. So peace and progress reign in their kingdom because they had gained the respect and recognition of their neighbors. So nung namatay na yung father nila o yung king, syempre, may papalit na sa king. So, Prince Madali was named the new king. So, there were silent protests among the ranks and their people. So, they wanted Prince Bantugan to be the new king. So, even the ordinary people were one in saying that Prince Bantugan was better choice between the true princess. Since nakita nila na si Prince Bantugan, kaya ni Prince Bantugan ay pagtanggol yung people, no, at yung kingdom. Kasi nga malakas siya, expert siya sa paggamit ng iba't ibang mga pang-battle or pang-combat na mga kagamitan. Also, extraordinary talaga yung strength ni Prince Bantugan. So, unfortunately, kay Prince Bantugan na side, nagalit siya since he believed na mas qualified talaga sa posisyon or sa pagiging king ang kanyang kapatid. So, he actually tell the people na nag-aral ang kanyang kapatid, si Prince Madali or si King Madali, na kung paano magpatakbo ng isang kingdom, paano magpatakbo ng government. So, he studied government. He also added that Prince Bantugan knows how to deal with foreign relations, how their kingdom can be improved. So, ang nagawa lang ng mga ministers at yung mga soldiers is to nod. Pero hindi lang doon nagtatapos ang problema. Siyempre, si Prince Bantugan, hindi lang siya malakas, kundi may itsura rin. Several beautiful women in the kingdom fell for him. Even women whom his brother, King Madali, wanted for himself, surrendered themselves to Prince Bantugan's charm. You know, enraged and envious, King Madali proclaimed an order. So, ano yung order? Itong order na to, pinagbabawalan ni King Madali ang lahat, no, na makipag-usap kay Prince Bantugan. Ang mahuli na makipag-usap kay Prince Bantugan is either makukulong or severely be punished. So Prince Bantugan felt sad about the decision of his brother. So he found himself like a person with a communicable disease. So everyone stayed away from him sa takot na makulong or maparusahan. So unable to contain his grief, he decided one day to leave the kingdom and settled in a faraway land where he spent the rest of his life. So let's proceed to the elements of the story. We have the king, Prince Bantugan, Prince or King Madali, the ferocious crocodile, the people of the kingdom. We also have yung mga tao ng mga villagers, no? At meron din tayong mga soldiers. Next one, we have the setting. So setting is actually the kingdom. POV is third person omniscient. The plot is linear. Also, the themes, no? Leadership. So, the qualities of a good leader are explored through the comparison between Prince Bantugan and King Madali. Isa din sa mga themes is jealousy and envy. So, King Madali's jealousy towards his brother leads to conflict and division. Next one, the loyalty and duty. Prince Bantugan's loyalty to his brother. No? Despite na maraming sinasabi yung mga tao, kesyo ganito ganyan, mas deserve niya na maging king. Pero yun pa yung loyalty niya sa pagiging Prince or King Madali is nandun pa rin, and the kingdom is evident despite the mistreatment he receives. Next one, we have the symbolism. So Prince Bantugan represent the strength, intelligence, and charisma. So basically, nakikita natin yon, na-mention natin yon, na Prince Bantugan actually represent really strength since nakatalo siya ng isang ferocious crocodile na nakapatay ng maraming villagers. Also, kaya niya na patumbahin yung, for example, 3 to 5 na tao hanggang sa lumaki siya, ganun pa rin. Mataling din siya. And also, yung charisma ni Prince Bantugan, no? Iba't ibang babae or maraming babae, I mean, yung na-fell kay Prince Bantugan. We have yung ferocious crocodile then actually symbolizes danger and the challenges Prince Bantugan overcomes, no? Isa din yon sa isang symbolism na matatagpuan or makikita natin dito sa ating story. And we also have the Prince Madali's order to isolate Prince Bantugan symbolizes the breakdown of familial bonds and trusts. we have literary criticism. So we can actually apply methodological criticism. Why? Because first, because it emphasizes the universal patterns underlying literary works, particularly focusing on archetypes and symbols. So Darangan is rich in mythological elements featuring the heroic protagonist, which is Prince Bantugan, supernatural feats like killing the crocodile single-handedly, and themes of honor like loyalty and destiny. Analyzing the text through mythological criticism would involve identifying and interpreting these recurring motifs and symbols within the narrative. Next one, we can actually also apply sociological criticism because it examines literature within a social, cultural, and political context. Like in Darangan, Darangan reflects the societal norms, values, and power dynamics of the time and culture in which it was created. So analyzing the text through sociological criticism would involve exploring themes of kingship, power struggles, familial duty, and societal expectations. So additionally, considering how gender roles and relationships are depicted in the epic can provide insights into the cultural attitudes of the society in which it originated. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Those are one of the epic and one of the legend that is coming from the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. I hope that you've learned a lot, and congratulations, ladies and gentlemen, na na-survive din natin yung second sem ng second year, incoming third year. Sana all incoming third year, sana maka third year. Thank you so much.